Anyway, college, a great time, and if you didn't see the score of the Alabama versus the Citadel at halftime, um, it's a little embarrassing. All right, so at the end of the first half, well, the score was tied. Yeah, yeah. Alabama was tied with the Citadel Bulldogs 10-10 at the end of the first half. The 11-0 Crimson Tide scored the same amount of points, which was 10, at the end of the first half against a 4-6 Citadel team. And let's just remove the fact that the final score was 50-17. Let's remove that, and because we'll get to that eventually. But this is embarrassing. I mean, you hold LSU to 12 rushing yards the entire game, and this no-name team who isn't even over 500 rushes 140-something yards on you. And this is after I come back on the show and say that, after Alabama's defense was shaky against Arkansas and they put up 30-something points, this is embarrassing because, Dylan Moses came out and he said that, he was taking responsibility for the poor defensive play, and he comes out and, they are shutting people down. The whole month of November they're lighting people up, and then they play the Citadel Bulldogs 4-6, and they're tied at half, 10 points. This is a lapse in defense. This is just poor. I don't know. It's not poor preparation. I think it's just laziness, pure laziness, and this is not something we see out of Alabama and out of Nick Saban's team. And I can only imagine what Nick Saban told them at half, but he was probably like, "Y'all are a bunch of little schoolgirls that just laid down for a team that literally means nothing compared to you." And they came out, and of course they scored, 4 touchdowns in the third quarter, and then another 2 in the fourth quarter. And don't forget that though, but they allowed another touchdown in the fourth quarter. So the final score is 50-17. So is hope lost for Alabama? No, hope is not lost for Alabama. But I can only imagine that this will be a learning curve for them, and it's going to make the committee think a little less of them. It's not going to matter because, let's be honest, they're not going to lose another game. So they're going to continue being number one, but, it might make all the Alabama haters a little bit more content. It sure will make the Citadel Bulldogs and all the memes that are coming out about no score November for Alabama, nothing anymore. And against all 4-6 team, come on, that's ridiculous. But anyway, enough about that. So yeah, that was an ordeal. And I was actually kind of scared at one point because I was thinking, oh no, this is going to mess everything up in college football. The whole natural order of things is falling apart. But, yeah. Any interesting games here? Arkansas, again, showed themselves to be a total failure. Not really, though, because you're playing a 21-ranked Mississippi State, and, I get it. They're hot. They've had a good couple of games, sort of. They kind of got robbed in the game against Alabama, but we won't talk about it. Florida blows out Idaho, but come on, they're not even ranked anymore, and they used to be in the top 5. Remember when a bunch of SEC teams were in the top 10? Yeah, me too. Jeez. Speaking of the devil, Kentucky barely beating Middle Tennessee by 11 points. And I kind of hate myself for saying almost lost, but come on. Oh, and then let's not forget that Ohio State a number 10 ranked Ohio State. And I've been saying this for a while. This Ohio State team is overrated. I mean, they got a good quarterback, but that's really it. No solid defensive performance that they've had in recent years. But 52-51 in overtime against Maryland. And oh gosh, it's the inconsistencies are kind of bad, and this is why I think that the SEC is just something special, because you don't see this many inconsistencies out of a top 10 team. Really ever. And I don't think it's a lapse in preparation. I just think it's, I don't know, maybe I couldn't really explain it to you why Maryland put up 50 points against Ohio State. I don't know. I don't know if it's the conference. I don't know if it's just a bad week. I couldn't tell you, but all I know is they're way overrated, and they should not even be considered in the top 4 slot. Let alone, let's make this hypothetical, even if there was an 8-team bracket, they wouldn't even be considered in that. Not because they're number 10, but because they're just inconsistent and bad. And I don't know if those things aren't mutually exclusive, but we're going to go ahead and say that they are for the purpose of this podcast. Moving on. Other teams that shouldn't have lost: West Virginia, and I'm disappointed in Will Grier. So if we're still doing the worst performance segment, it's going to go to him for not pulling this win. And I don't even know if he did bad, but I'm just going to give it to him because it's 1 in the morning and you lost to Oklahoma State. And let's be honest, Oklahoma State isn't bad. They beat Texas, but, at the same time, I've said that Texas isn't back. So, you can't really separate those things. So maybe West Virginia's bad, or they had a bad week. But that's the conundrum of this whole episode, isn't it? Is our teams bad because they lost to teams they shouldn't have lost to? Or is a team good because they blow out everyone? I don't know. Interesting questions. I'm proud of Notre Dame, though, this week. They beat Syracuse, and I've watched Syracuse a bit this year, and they're a decent team. They're not a bad team. They got some weapons on offense, and they only put up 3 points against Notre Dame's defense, which is kind of disappointing because they don't have a defense in their independent conference. Florida State picks up a win this week against number 20 Boston College, so it's good to get a win against a ranked team. Georgia, I don't know why you let UMass score 4 touchdowns on you, but we don't have to talk about it too long. You are an SEC East team, so I really could care less. Michigan getting another win this week, staying at number 4. Congratulations to you, my friend. And LSU beats Rice. Good little revenge there, 42-10. I like it. On Oklahoma. And, man, this is interesting because if you remember anything about Baker Mayfield, he does not like Kansas. No, sir. Doesn't like him at all. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up Baker Mayfield-Kansas game, and that's really all I'm going to say about it. But 55-40, and Kyler Murray is solidifying his spot as a close second to Mr. Tua Tagovailoa for the Heisman Trophy. And, I saw the stats comparing the two, and they're close. They're really close. But, Mr. Kyler Murray has 34 touchdowns. I think Tua has 31 passing touchdowns. He's got, maybe 3,000 yards or such, and the completion ratio is like a point differential. And here's the thing, guys. Kyler Murray, he's a great guy. I mean, I don't know him. You know what I mean. He's a great quarterback. He's the scariest player, I think. If I'm a defensive coordinator and if I'm playing on defense against him, I'm terrified because he can do it all and he can do it so fast. I mean, I think he's one of the fastest quarterbacks I've ever seen. And he does it with ease. I really don't like the way he runs, though. I mean, he runs like he has, the stiffest back I've ever seen. He kind of runs like a cartoon character, and I don't know if that degrades him or makes him a better player. I don't know. I don't even know if that's correct running for him. It doesn't look like it because I've never seen anyone run like that in my life before. But hey, it works for him. He's the starting quarterback of the number 6 team in the nation, so he maybe knows more than I am, or more than I do. But at the end of the day, all that being said, Tua still hasn't even played a whole game. Oh, and he has a sprained knee. Oh, and they don't have they don't have to rely on passing on every play because they have 3 of the greatest running backs that Alabama has seen in the last couple of years. Josh Jacobs, Damian Harris, and Najee Harris, a 5-star recruit that was hurdling people his sophomore and freshman year of high school. So, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a stat disparity because this kid hasn't played a full game and he's beating a guy, or he's barely losing to a guy that's playing every game and only has 3 more touchdowns than him. Oh, and let's not forget the point that I just made, that they have 3 running backs that account for 40% of their plays. In other news, Texas beats Ohio State. That was a good game, 24-10. Give respect to Texas, even though I don't like them, even though I don't think they're back like everyone says. But they're playing at a higher level than normal. So maybe that qualifies them as back, but they're not Colt McCoy back. They're not national championship contender back. I don't even think they're ranked 15 back. I think maybe they're low 20s. Maybe not even that, because you look at the lower 20s, like number 21 Mississippi State, they'd get their chaps handed to them by Nick Fitzgerald and their rushing attack and that solid defense they got over there in Stark Vegas. And I'm going to skip over this one. I'm going to skip over the UCF game because we're going to get into that. We're going to get into UCF a little bit. Arizona and Washington State. Good for them, Washington State beating Arizona, whatever that means. 69-28. Oregon won, and Hawaii, blah, 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 blah. Okay, anyway. Let's talk about UCF, okay? Can we talk about UCF, please? Can we? Can we, Father? Can we, Mom? All right. I'd really appreciate it. They're on this, 20-something game winning streak, and it's cool. It's good. They got a great offense. Let's be real. They do. They got a good offense. Let's look at their schedule, okay? And we're not going to even talk about last year. Let's just talk about this year, all right? Austin, PA, 73-33. I don't know how they score 33 points if you're that good. Connecticut, 56-17. You let a basketball team put up 17 points against you. That's cool. South Carolina State, 0. So that, okay. UNC, okay, 2 of their games have been canceled, so that's cool. Florida Atlantic, 36-56, and so that's that. Pittsburgh, 14-45. Pittsburgh actually should have won that, but SMU, 20-48. You almost lose to Memphis, and that's kind of embarrassing. You beat Temple a little bit. You beat Navy. You beat Cincinnati. And then you play South Florida on Friday. That'll actually be a good game. Both of those teams, I think, are kind of iffy. Of course, these are the self-proclaimed national champions of last year. And I still haven't seen a picture of them with a trophy or a plaque of any sort. They might as well have gotten themselves a participation. Wow. Let me start that whole sentence over. They might has. Wow. Oof, hold on. English is hard, after 1 a.m, but we're gonna keep going with it. They may have well written their own participation trophy. Oh my gosh, I'm saying this all sorts of wrong. You get what I mean, though, okay? They're not playing anybody good. they're not playing anybody that's worthy of even having them in the conversation. They've beaten no-name teams. Every team that they've beaten, the top